Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among other things. Now we're taking a closer look at Polkadot, which is DOT, and we're just going to take a closer look at the technical charts. There's no fundamentals here. I do want to say thank you to my Patreon subscribers for recommending I cover this. Moving forward, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. Always do your own research. Just know I have years of trading experience, and my goal is to help you trade for a lifetime. Right? So instead of giving you a fish, I'm just going to help you, teach you how to fish instead, right? So there's an analogy in there somewhere. Hopefully you're familiar with that. If not, either way, if you're interested in $25 in Bitcoin from Voyager application, reference the link in the description below. Also note that I have a Patreon account as well as a Telegram community, Discord channel, all the likes down below. Feel free to get engaged and learn as much as you possibly can. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and check it out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Polkadot, which is DOT. And just before we take a look at that, of course, we always preface with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that way we understand what's going on in the market and we really, truly, get a holistic view of everything. That way you can make an informed decision, right? Because if you only look at one thing, you're not going to be well informed. So we'll take a look at that first. And just to clarify, I'm using the Binance desktop application. This is on my PC. It's not a mobile device. And it is TradingView within. So you click on TradingView in the corner, and if you'd like to follow along, I use the 50 and the 200-day simple moving averages on my chart here, and I have those enabled. This purple one is the 200, and the yellow one rather is the 50-day moving average, right? And if we can see here, the 50-day moving average is working as a potential support. The line hasn't closed yet. It's technically still getting rejected because it hasn't broken above. But what you will typically notice is when it breaks above it, it breaks hard. So if you see back here, you see how it broke really fast, and then right there it broke down really quick. Oftentimes a moving average like the 50, because this is a kind of an industry standard, will be broken swiftly. So be on the lookout for that. It should break above or soon reject. But it's tested it 3 or 4 times so far and hasn't passed. So I think that it will continue to push and likely increase above that soon. So we should expect to see Bitcoin upwards of 42,000 over the next few days if that continues and it can stay above the moving average. It should at least, if nothing else, test its previous or most recent resistance at like 39 to 40,000 range. Again, approximately that's what we're looking at here. We have a major support at 30,000. Secondary support is right in the 34,000 range. And of course, major resistance is 42,000 even. We aren't going to worry about the 200-day moving average at this point, but if it continues down and the 50 comes up, that is a golden cross. That is right what we want to see to get the price action back up above, just say 50,000 perhaps eventually. Okay. Now looking at Ethereum on the 4-hour chart, we are seeing a very similar scenario here. Again, a little more exaggerated because the price action came up pretty high when Bitcoin was consolidating, but you can tell that Ethereum is effectively mirroring Bitcoin right now, which is normal after a major sell-off from Bitcoin. Okay, so looking at it here, you can see the price is over the 50-day moving average. It did break through. You see how it broke through there kind of quickly. And then, of course, we have a major resistance level at about 2,900 that may get tested soon. We'll see. So if just say Bitcoin breaks above the 50-day moving average and just trends towards 38 to 40,000, it's easy to say that Ethereum will come and test 2,900 here soon. Just be on the lookout for that. So let's go ahead and take a look at DOT now. I always start with the 1-day chart first and work my way down. We're going to look at the 1-day, 4-hour, 15, and the 1-minute chart. Those are my favorite charts. They work very effectively for the indicators that I use, so just bear that in mind. A lot of people use the 1-hour chart, which is perfectly fine, but I personally prefer the 4-hour chart just because I think it works a little bit better. I like slightly larger time frames because they give me better confirmation. Okay, so looking at the 1-day chart, first things first, as you can see, the price got hit hard on the 18th, and no surprise there. That was a China candle. It looks like DOT did survive pretty well considering, because look at this, the 17th, that's this one right here. That is the very first Bitcoin sell-off last month, where things kind of dropped from the 64,000 range. So it dropped really hard right there, and looks like Polkadot recovered. And then it recovered again. But then on the 12th, which is this guy right here, that was the Elon candle. So Polkadot actually came back with a vengeance and jumped up for what is that, 25%? Sheesh, 35-ish% in one day, immediately after the major Elon candle. But all the altcoins couldn't survive because that was just kind of BS, for lack of better terms, right? But the China candle really hit hard for most people, right? So you look at that, I mean, shoot, we lost, went down 56% in one day. My goodness. Okay, yeah. So that's been getting hammered essentially in that sense, and it makes sense considering their fundamentals. Do your own research, of course, but it makes sense why they were hurt by that. But now that things have kind of recovered and Bitcoin's consolidating, you can see effectively a similar process from DOT. So I'm not surprised to see the price action where it's at right now, just based on this one major candlestick here, because it's been having a difficult time recovering. Good news is RSI is still under 45, and you can see it kind of works as a temporary resistance level. 45 works as a resistance level when the price is under RSI, and prices over 55 are essentially a support. So you'll commonly see the RSI kind of stay in that value, that trend, until some type of price action occurs. With Bitcoin kind of recovering and consolidating, I wouldn't be surprised if DOT had a tendency of ramping back up. We should see it back in the 30s within the next couple of days. If Bitcoin can jump up to just say 39, 42, somewhere in that range there. But if Bitcoin breaks its 50-day moving average here soon, we'll likely see a run-up. Furthermore, we'll also see a major increase if we can get Bitcoin closer to about 42,000. Okay, so again, that's why I always look at Bitcoin first, because it's really just the end-all be-all for these clients. I think it's ridiculous because there's much better products out there, but it's just the way it is right now. Okay, so we all kind of got to deal with that. Kind of sucks, but pay attention to Bitcoin and then look at your altcoins, right? That's why we do this. But again, generally a lot more volume here recently. So we can see 2 green volume bars there. That's fantastic. That shows the bulls are in control. And the MACD is swinging upwards. It may converge here soon, and that will cause maybe a push up in price. Okay. That being said, we're looking at the 4-hour chart next. So 4-hour chart, we got the 50-day moving average. This is this yellow line here, currently working as a support. Look at that. That is nice. You see how what's interesting too is when Bitcoin went above on the 50-day moving average, kind of in this range here, DOT wasn't above it. It stayed below. So it's interesting how that works, because normally most other altcoins I look at were above the 50-day moving average at that time frame. But what's nice now, regardless of what that happened, it is now currently a support. So it's closed 3 solid, it's 12 hours. So 12 hours, it's been above the 50-day moving average. Good sign for DOT. Also good sign too, because when the price comes up like this, you'll see a more of a golden cross, they refer to it as, when the 50-day moving average intersects with the 200 in upward fashion. It usually allows the price to break through the 200 easier. So that's what we're hoping for. We won't see that for a little while, but that could be in the near future, within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Perhaps even sooner, depending on how Bitcoin recovers. Looking at the RSI, fair to Midland, nothing there really. The MACD is also just kind of leveling out. You'll see the MACD lines kind of staying together when there's a period of consolidation and indecision. So really just telling us that it's neither considered oversold or overbought at this point, even though it is considerably oversold, just in the general sense of the price. I mean, look how low it is compared to where it's at. Like the last time it was at this price action was 3 months ago, back in February. So I do feel like the average true range for DOT should be closer to about 32 to 36. So there's a good chance we're going to see the price result there here in the near future. Again, just depends on what Bitcoin wants to do, right? So we're all slaves to Bitcoin. So going over to the 15-minute chart, let's take a peek here. Get a little zoom in here for you. And what I do first, if you're new to my channel, just so you understand, I always disable my moving averages, because simple moving averages are not as effective on the shorter time frames. 1 hour, 4 hour, longer, they are definitely worthwhile. However, on the 15-minute chart, you want to use something that moves a little faster, moves with the price action. That's why I choose to use the EMA, which is my EMA 15. Industry standard is 9 or 20. So instead of having 2 jumping around, I like to have 1 meets right in the middle. It splits the difference and it works better for me. So I use the 15 and also the VWAP as well. So the VWAP is a volume weighted average price. It basically expresses the price as a volume in the last 24 hours. So if you see the last 24 hours of volume, It's telling us right now, in the last 24 hours, the price should be $22.20, where it's actually $22.70. So the price is over. It's a little bit exaggerated, so to speak. It's above that number. EMA is also nice because it is an exponential moving average. It tells us what the price is. So what it's kind of doing is very similar to the moving average convergence divergence, right? The MACD, because the MACD is an exponential moving average. One of these lines works that way. I believe it is the lower line that's the exponential moving average. So you see they kind of follow almost identically, right? But it matches the price action. So it's nice because it tells us if it's bullish or bearish. So right here, broke above EMA and the VWAP, it's considered bullish. Broke below and lost. Tried to break again, got rejected, came down. That is essentially resistance as well. Broke above supports, bounced off EMA, continued to reiterate as a support, lost EMA but stayed above VWAP, and it continues upward. So it's kind of just one of those things that really helps you understand, like it's like a day trader's best friend. Now the beautiful thing about this is if you're a short-term swing trader, or just say even a hodler and you're trying to find a good position, if you use this and you get the confirmation you're looking for, you'll find a good position as well. You don't want to take entry on just say a 4-hour chart or a 1-hour chart based on those metrics. This is a better way to go. Okay, so even if I day trade and I'm looking at a 1-minute chart, I will find my confirmation. I'll look at the 15 to see, make sure I got it. Okay, so to me the 15 is ultimately the best tool for me, but everyone has their own way of doing things, so be sure to be aware of that. Now, the last thing I want to kind of identify here is just kind of a good potential entry point. And just to clarify, there's a lot of good entries at this point with what I see. Not only the fact that the price is lower than its average true range, because DOT should be valued much higher than it is right now, is the simple fact that we've got constant confirmation here. Let me just pick something out of the hat here. So just say, for example, we look at these two solid green bars. That to me is what I look for when looking for confirmation to take an entry, right? And what I mean by that is if you take two solid green bars on the 15-minute chart, how long is that? That's 30 minutes, right? That's 30 minutes where the confirmation, the price action is moving in the direction you're wanting to head. So if we look at this example here, the price jumped up over EMA. Perfect. Check number 1, price is over EMA. It's also over the VWAP line as well. So that's an awesome time to take an entry, right? So say you took entry right there and you want to exit and just take a quick profit. What you'd do is you'd wait for the RSI to peak up over 70, which it did right here. So let's go ahead and just highlight that. So the price peaked up over 70 here. And what you want to do is you want to try to take your profit as close to the top, but also when it's coming back down. So it wouldn't hurt to even wait to right here. So what I'd do is I'd wait for the price action to come back down. So I'd probably take my profit somewhere in this range. I know that seems kind of crazy because it was higher up here when it first peaked over, but you never want to take you never want to sell your position as soon as the RSI comes up over 70, because if it continues upwards and stays over 70 for a while, you want to wait for it to come back down, because oftentimes the price will be much higher. That being said, just say you took this kind of scenario, right? That would be a good day in my book. Almost 3%. I'm fine by that. If I can have 2 or 3 of those per day, I'm in good shape. And look how quickly that was made. It took you 1 to 1.5 hours to make that percent. Now I'm sure some of you will be kind of thinking, oh, that's terrible, that's not very good. Well, if you multiply that out every day and just say that 2% gain, you do 2 or 3 of those in one day and you grow your portfolio size by 1% per day, then at the end of the year, had you started with $5,000, you'd have like $187,000 plus by just growing your account by 1% per day. So never underestimate the benefit of exponential growth. Like, people seem to think that you should do 20x and 10x and 50x in one day or one hodl. That's great if you can do that. Set money aside for that. I do it too. But don't dismiss small gains like this. Take profits when you can. It's very important. I'm passionate about this because there's times when I've been so greedy to try to find the top and the true bottom. There's no such thing. I promise you. You'll never get the most out of every trade. Okay? You might do it once or twice and think that you're untouchable, and that will screw you up really bad. All right, enough about that. That is kind of my education, my advice here, my takeaway. Use the EMA and the VWAP in conjunction and wait for confirmation, no less than 2 solid 15-minute green bars, a total of 30 minutes, to ensure you're on the right track. Okay. Now, I don't really want to bother with the 1-minute chart. Oftentimes I like to look at it, but the price action isn't extreme right now to really worry about it. But the same concept applies. Price over EMA, price over VWAP. wait for confirmation. Only in that case, with the 1 minute bar, you want to wait for at least 3 solid green bars above those lines. So they got to be closing, moving that way. Because the reason why this works, right, is because you're taking what those industry leaders are creating. They're creating a price action. They're controlling the price. You're jumping on the train with them. You're not trying to fight it. You're not trying to paddle uphill, if you will. If there's a river, and you're trying to paddle your way up, you're fighting the current, right? Why not run with the current? Why not ride the train, so to speak, and do what they do? Looking at these things helps you understand what they're looking at too. That's why I use them. They are essentially what they use day in and day out. So that's all I have. If you have interest in perhaps joining my Telegram community, feel free to do so. I will have Signal Group soon. In my Patreon, that'll be my basically an option. It's going to be an opportunity for you to be able to kind of get entry points, sell signals, and just kind of make it a lot easier for you, because then I can kind of share with you what I'm doing, and you can hopefully take profit from that. So that will be again, a subscription through my Patreon account. Link in the description below if you'd like to look at that. I'm about a couple weeks out from that. I'm ironing out the kinks, as well as my live stream. In fact, I tried to live stream this last weekend, and I gave some of my subscribers 15 seconds of fame, and I didn't do very well with it at all. Either way, that is a joke on me, but I'm figuring that out and getting the live stream taken care of. I'm sure it's a lot easier than I'm making it. But I'm going to start doing live streams every weekend initially, and then eventually every day, because I love this and I want to do this full time. And showing your support on Patreon will help me to get to that point, right? So I want to make this a full-time thing outside of my typical 9 to 5. All right. So thanks again for joining me here. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.